Hello YouTube, Robin Hood Bricks here, and today I am super excited because we're going to be doing a fabulous train build, or rather a fabulous train conversion of, dun dun dun, the Burlington Northern Santa Fe locomotive. Wow! Now, the majority of emails that I receive to the channel are from fake Lego companies trying to get me to advertise their products. But in between all of that chaff is the odd grain of absolute gold. And I got an email from Edward asking if I wanted to buy a couple of train sets for a knockdown price. And when he showed me what he was offering me, I thought, yes, please. Essentially, I mean, this Burlington Northern Santa Fe locomotive, set 10133, is an absolute grail item for me and looks absolutely amazing. I mean, it's a bit American looking for the UK tracks, but a lot of my other locomotives are guilty of that. And it's not like it looks as North American as, say, the Santa Fe Super Chief, which is a bit crazy, really. But this one, wow. I mean, the orange going with that yellow and dark green is just absolutely beautiful. And the big stickers on it and all the rest of it and these shiny silver chrome horns on the top look absolutely amazing. We've even got a different sort of grey sort of setup going on down here as well that looks, well, very different from everything I've got already. So I was like, Edward, yes, I am super interested, and how very generous of you for giving me such a generous knockdown offer. So here is a bedoing for you. Now, he also sent, as a complete freebie, a carriage to be pulled along by, which is this little fella here, the open freight wagon 10013 from 2001. It had a couple of bits missing, including all of these poles, which I've replaced with the slightly more recent version that kind of fall off every time I handle it. But that is a great addition to the longest cargo train on the internet as well, I think. So anyway, back to the main thing here. Currently, it's in its original form in that it's based on a 9-volt motor, which I've just powered in using my sort of electronic setup so I can give it a bit of go. But to have it running in my city, I really need to have it converted to power functions. Now, the biggest problem with that is that this is 4 wide and that is 4 wide. So I think we're going to have to do a major conversion to get everything running in Brick Nottingham. And then there's a few more cosmetic issues as well. We've got a missing buffer here. We've got some missing pieces under here. Not that that'll matter because I'll be swapping the one motor and this fake bogie here for double motors so we can have even more power. And then, yeah, there's a couple more bits sort of missing off the front for the rails and so on, but largely it's all there. And that's incredibly important with a set like this. The reason why it's partially so expensive is because, well, there are so many parts that are unique to this set, so you can't really part it out very easily at all. The biggest one, quite literally, is the yellow train base, the 28x6 a kind of plate with all the holes in and all the rest of it for the wires, and that was unique to this set and will go for about £50 all on its own. And I had a quick check on Bricklink and there are only 2, both in the USA, in the whole world for sale. So yeah, that's pretty hard to get. And then you've got all sorts of dark green pieces that have only appeared in this set as well, like these 4 wedge pieces that kind of come out and give it some good contouring. We've got a couple more on this side with the rounded bricks there. And we've also got, though you wouldn't really know, 2 pairs of these tiny little car doors in dark green as well that open up for access, and they're worth a fortune as well. So yeah, the only real way to get this set replicated properly is, well, by getting one in its entirety like I have here. And then we've got the wonderful stickers as well, which are kind of a bad part of it in a sense, because they're all sticker across assembly. Do you see there? That is covering several different bricks, and you can see how it sort of lifts with time in the little gaps along the brick joins. But beggars can't be choosers, and head on, it looks absolutely great. And these are in great condition after being looked after very well by Edward. So yeah, we've got the big BNSF, so Burlington Northern Santa Fe, and we've got the numbers on each side as well. We've also got the 3 sort of engine fans, The front, we've got a double number here. Now, they're a bit skew-width, aren't they? So I think with the worst offenders, I'm going to try and reposition them using my patented hot tea technique. And at least when they're not across assembly, I don't think that should be too much of a problem. So they'll get moved. There's this front one underneath the light saying Santa Fe. So I'll try and move that slightly to the right, even though that's a sticker across assembly as well. And then we've got this one on the front. Do you think I'll be able to get rid of that tiny yellow sliver? Probably not, but anyway. And yeah, then there's a few on the sides as well, but they look fine as they are. So yeah, all the important stuff is there. And yeah, I just need to replace the kind of power system, this manky wire that's powering the light on the inside, and get that additional buffer on, and well, yeah, get all the equipment on the inside. That is going to definitely be the hardest bit. Okay, well, premise established, but yeah, it's not going to be easy because we're going to have to do a massive overhaul of this thing to fit in the amount of kit that needs to go on the inside. So first of all, obviously we've got that battery box, rechargeable, that's why I use those, and it will be powering 2 motors rather than the old 9-volt one, and that'll just give me maximum power on my track, and yeah, the fact that I won't have to use metal track either. So I can power all, well, this will be the 7th double motor locomotive just on my cargo line. Yes, so that'll be 14 motors, which I'm pretty sure the 9-volt system wouldn't be able to cope with without getting incredibly hot. So yeah, it's a pretty good system the way I've got it. Everything using the same thing, all controllable by one remote. So yeah, not bad at all. And because they're going to be working with the wires pointing towards the center, in both cases, I've taken the liberty of opening one up using my trusty T6x40 kind of screwdriver type thing with a funny head on the end. And that means that I can just desolder one of the sets of contacts to make them go in opposite directions when they receive the same signal. So essentially, if I turn this on, you'll see that when they're facing opposite directions, they still go the same way. So that's going clockwise, and if I put it in there, it should also be going clockwise. If I can get it in, there we go. Yeah, so you can see that working. So all of that needs to go on the underside and on the inside. Then I've got, yeah, a couple of those missing pieces for the side front rails. That can go in there. I've got the wheel packs to go with these motors. Now, there's a bit of a funny one with this in that the fact that they need a 6-long axle piece to go through each of these sort of orange bits here. And I don't think that's going to match up with the kind of side bits of this 9-volt motor. If I pull this off, you'll see, oh, golly, that's hard to get off, that they don't have gaps in here for the axles like the newer ones do. So yeah, a bit of a calamity there. I've had to get 2 more, and these aren't easy to get. But anyway, they, you see, have got the little cutout that will accept the different type of motor, but still have that old, well, not old grey, light bluish grey colour as well. So yeah, I've managed to get a pair of those. And then I had another crisis when I thought, well, hold on, actually, I haven't got the front ones either, because, you know, this is just a dumb bogie, and these are actually attached to a wheel setup. So yeah, I don't have a pair of kind of the side skirts for that either. So yeah, I'm going to need another pair as well. So I've had to get 4 of these grey things with the cutouts on to augment what I had already. So I'm going to have some serious leftover pieces. But I reckon both this motor and its side bits can be used for a future build. And that's going to be going with this 9-volt track. And all of my sort of electronic control equipment I got in a recent haul to make a funky train that's going to be working on the inside of the city away from all the big circular tracks. So that's the only clues I'm going to give you on that, but none of this kit is going to go to waste. Then for the lighting on the inside, I'm thinking I can still reuse this manky wire, which goes all the way to a light bulb brick that is buried in there on the old 9-volt system, because that actually will connect to a connecty wire in here. So I'm definitely going to need a connecty wire from Power Functions. This is the short one. So when you turn on the battery box, the light will always be on, and that just shows me that you know, it's switched on. And then it'll have to go through the IR receiver, which is in here, to power the motors. Yes, so both of those will definitely get included. And if the light doesn't work for some reason, I do also have a Power Functions light. Oh, so we're getting into a big heap here. What else was missing? Yes, there was a buffer missing. So I've got a second plough buffer for that type of magnet. And if we did want to move to the other magnets as well, I've got a pair of those as well. So I think we've got absolutely everything, bar the additional bricks I'm going to need for this main body, because yeah, bringing it out 2-hole studs is going to make it look quite wide. And I'm hoping it doesn't look too far from the original, because I really like the look of it. I think I'm going to try and keep it sort of the same at the front, definitely around the cabin here, and then probably keep it slim here and have it just come out halfway down for a bit wider to accommodate the battery box and the power functions IR receiver. So yeah, it's going to look a bit big bottomed, I think, with all that junk in its trunk, but you know, that's not to be avoided, unfortunately. So yeah, we'll hopefully keep that as true to the original as possible. And I think the biggest complication of that whole thing is, yeah, these big stickers across all of those pieces, because, well, I'm going to have to carefully take it apart and, well, keep the stickers, that, the bricks that it's touching together. So I have to incorporate whole sort of lumps of bricks from the old build with stickers attached to them into the new build unaltered. So that is going to be a real challenge. And, well, I'm not even sure it's entirely possible, but we'll have to give it a go. Otherwise, we'll just have to have this as was parked up in some train lay-by somewhere just looking pretty, and that would be a real shame, especially now I've bought all this stuff. So yeah, a big heap of train to kind of pull apart and then re-put together in the most usable fashion possible. And then when we've got 7 full cargo locomotives with 14 whole motors, well, I can make my train even longer with even more carriages. Hey. Okay, so proof of concept on the power setup. First of all, I've got the battery box attached to the short cable, which is then attached on the underside because it's actually 9-volt compatible with that really old cranky wire, which is dropping bits of sort of wire coating all over the place. But I think inside a plastic toy, it should be sufficiently isolated. And that will turn on the lamp as soon as I turn on the battery box, which it does. So I don't need my power functions light at all because I don't know where the second bulb will go anyway. So we'll get rid of that. Very good so far. And that means we've now got the IR receiver powered as well. So when I use my trusty remote, I should be able to get, yeah, both of those motors going forward and backwards. Feel the power. Oh, wow. That should be able to pull absolutely anything. So there we go. And there you can see I've got the new sort of side bits on around those axle ends, and I tried it with the old one on the old motor and it wouldn't go on, so I was right to buy both pairs. So yeah, so this can go to the new train and we've got all of the power stuff for this conversion. Right, disassembly next, the scary bit. No, it actually wasn't that difficult to pull apart into its constituent sections. These bits I did actually manage to heat up using a refreshing cup of tea and the usual technique to such a degree that I was able to sort of contort them a little bit without pulling the whole sticker off, because it's always a bit risky when they're see-through backed, because they might not go back in exactly the same clear way. So dragging it slightly just to level up that text, you can see the sort of fine orange band above the lettering. It seems to be much more consistent than it was before. This one wasn't so bad in the first place, so I tried to get that a little bit more level as well. Yep. Weirdly, on the inside, there was this chrome crystal. I don't know quite if that was part of the original set or not, but maybe it's a Easter egg from Edward. But anyway, I'll put it to good use in the mines. Don't think I'll put that on the inside with all of my kit. I pulled these ones clear off because they're not so bad with the clear backing, and repositioned them on the center so they're nice and central. So that's effective. This one I also pulled clear off. We're going to have to suffer with that very, very fine band of yellow around the green tile on top, but at least it's consistent now and kept to a minimum. So that's much more equidistant. Probably the most annoying one as it stood beforehand was this Santa Fe badge on the front because it was so off center. Now it is OCD proof, being right in the middle and being vertical. Much the same as these ones, which were very skew with on the original, but now I think they're equidistant and level, pretty much. Those ones dragged just a little bit. They were probably the hardest ones to move, actually. But yeah, I think they're a bit more central and a bit more flat now. So that's good. And then these needed moving as well, but only a little bit. all dragged with pressure and good warming through. So yeah, that is absolutely great. Now it shows that with these being completely different sections, how asymmetrical the original train was. So we'll have to try and keep that sort of factor in the new one as well. And the sticker isn't attached to every single one of these bricks, but they are quite long, so it is actually most of them. So that's, yeah, definitely going to be a big hurdle to cover. Another big hurdle occurs to me is I'm going to need a button for my battery box to be able to press it when the everything's inside. So I'm going to have to, when I expand this to 6 wide from 4 wide, put a press button into this whole solid setup as it currently stands, so I can ping it on and off very easily, and it's completely camouflaged when in train mode. So yeah, lots to get on with in the new setup. So yeah, now we've got to this stage, I think we can finally start building it back up again. All right, well, the original build had a full wide body, as we've established, and then came out half a stud for a bit of interest on one side. The other side was uniform all the way down, a bit boring, if anything. And now I've had to extend it out so we've got a full wide cavity on the inside. I thought I would basically replicate that half stud kind of setup on this side as well. So it'd be wide, come in half a stud, and then come in half another stud. So it wasn't all in one go, kind of looking a bit boxy and square. So there'll be slightly different builds on each side, so we'll have a bit of asymmetry, but otherwise I think there's no other way around it, because we've got a lot of kit to fit in here. We've got the 4 stud long IR receiver, which I think is going to go right at the very back, a gap for some wires of 1 stud, and then the 8 stud long battery box, which will take us all the way up to that first step in, and then there'll be a very narrow passage down there and underneath the chair and so on to get to that light. So I think we'll have enough room on the inside. It'll be with these side bits in black pushed right up against it, but we've got a lot more clearance in a new city. In the old one, we kind of had 8 studs for the cargo trains going around, so it would have been very, very tight indeed with these on the outside of the 6. But now we've got 10 stud clearance, really. So essentially we should be fine even with it going around corners. So that is something. So yeah, I've raised up the sides onto the black modified plates and plates there. So as a result, to keep it all the same height, because we've got yellow stripes going along and orange stripes and the rest of it, they've got to be at the right level regardless. So I've taken out a course of bricks effectively and replaced it with 2 courses of plates, so we're net the exact same height. Added those expensive doors and expensive textured bricks back, and we're ready to accept the sides. And I've basically managed to take off some of the bottom layer of yellow plates on one side so I could put on different plates so it all fit a bit better, because it was sort of overhanging a little bit. But there we go, that's looking pretty good for one side, and then the same on the other. And then for the back, I can have some other coloured bricks because they don't need to be dark green because they'll be covered up. And then the back section, I've just increased the width of it basically. Couldn't get any 4x4 plates, but 2x4s will do just as well. Yeah, so that'll basically fit on there. And in order for that to work, I've just replaced some of the 1x4 plates with some 1x4 kind of plates with a stud on each end only, so it's smooth underneath that piece. So we've got a nice connection there. So that's looking pretty good. So the original had this setup on one side, with these pieces being incredibly hard to get hold of. Not very important perhaps, but maybe authentic to the original train. So that goes on that half stud. So we've got that step in a little bit and then a step in a little bit more. I think that works quite well before coming out again for the cab and then back in for the nose. And then the original had this big exhaust vent, I suppose it is. Well, I've replicated that, but given it a bit more depth and put it on top of a similar sort of tower of striped bricks. So it can be on the half stud like that. Yeah, there we go. Before we put the column of bricks in there for it to come in the other half stud. So hopefully that's enough difference to make it look interesting. Definitely got all of those stripes going well. A nice logo, very central actually on each side there. So that's pretty good turn up for the books. And then I can move this down one and have it all sort of held in firmly with some slopes to sort of bridge that increase in the depth. And then basically that should push down, hopefully, on there, and onto all those jumper plates at the top. I think I've got it. Got it on one side anyway. Yep, there we go. So that doesn't look too bad, actually. Yeah, it's a lot wider at the back, as we kind of predicted. But yeah, I think that's all right. So I'm going to fold these up, see how it looks. We'll cover up those very expensive doors again. Probably never to be noticed again. That's definitely something you could do without if you were trying to recreate this. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Cool. So I've got the massive cavity now to fill with all this stuff, and then we need to worry about that button and everything else fitting into the old roof, which, yeah, won't work at all because it's rock solid as it currently is. So yeah, I'll get on with that next. Wow, it never ceases to amaze me how much wire you have to kind of fold up and contort around the inside of one of these things to get it all in. It's absolutely staggering. There's definitely not room enough for that crystal. I was trying to do it with the two sides on and it was just pointless. So I've taken off one of the sides. And this receiver is raised up a bit and I've got it on two legs. So essentially there's a cavity under there and that's got most of the slack for the motor wires all coiled up underneath it. As I said, there's a gap there. Then we've got the wire from the IR receiver up to the block, which is kind of built into this sort of shoulder bit here before it goes back to the power box. So all of that wire needs to be folded up neatly to fit in the kind of, well, what would it be? One stud width that's remaining between the two sort of kind of bits that are going on the half stud in there. And that will just go right up to the end of this power functions kind of end part. So it's going to be absolutely packed and stacked by the time we're done. I'm, well, not entirely certain it's going to work. We won't have to sort of burrow some underneath the seat or something like that. Anyway, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I've been focused on the back so far. So that is all coiled up neatly. I'm not showing you anymore because it will become uncoiled. And I've made this setup to basically attach those two studs onto these two here. So it pivots and the red boat tile hits that switch. And then we've got the three fans on in the same positions as before. I've had to kind of compress this because the battery is a bit too tall in order to give enough space for the wires underneath. So we do have that tiny bit of Technic axle poking out a bit higher on that one than the other two. Well, I think I can live with that. So that goes onto there and then it will turn on the whole train and the light is on to show that it's on, and then the motors will only go when it receives the right signal there. So yeah, it is all functioning. So I can put the other wall back on and the back on, and then we can see if we can squeeze all these wires in the gaps that remain, which aren't very big. Phew, it fits. Only just. All those blocks that are joined together to make the power connections are lined up right behind the driver's head, lining up with his seat. So he's only just got enough space. All that wire's in that tiny gap between these. I could have made them thinner, I guess, but maybe not. I don't know. But yeah, it might burst open like a big old-fashioned jack-in-a-box, but fingers crossed that it won't. But it's looking very streamlined from the outside with all that mayhem on the inside. I really like these wedge sections going out to sort of 8 wide, I suppose, the widest of my cargo locomotives now, making full use of that additional width that I'll have around my new tracks. I've got some corner tiles just to make it look a bit sleek on that edge there where it steps in, and all of this is flat, looking sort of industrial and flat as well with the section that is removable from the middle. So when I get that positioned, yeah, you wouldn't be able to tell that there's a switch there at all, or even really that that's the IR receiver, but it is. And then you can turn it on and off. Oh, all the stickers lined up, the light working using the old-fashioned wire and everything. So now, in fact, before we press go on the controller, we better get the cab back on as well. And, oh, that looks so good, doesn't it? That colour scheme is absolutely lovely. I mean, it's very dark, but that's why these grey wheels and underside look really interesting. And that orange and yellow stripe really pops as well. So we've got the kind of vent on this side, and a nice BNSF with the half stud step in, another half stud, and then a full stud back out for the cab. And then similar but different on the other side with a sort of curved slope here before that wedge section coming out. Oh yes, that looks really good with a number 2256 and these sort of bar bits on the front. Yeah, the light, the horns on the top, all of that is completely jammed in and looking rather grand. And you wouldn't know, would you? I don't think that I'd extended it out. I mean, I was really fearful that it looks stupidly ugly. I mean, it's a bit ugly with it coming out sort of stepwise twice, but you know, locomotives are a little ugly in a beautiful way, if you see what I mean. But yeah, that doesn't look too bad at all. It just looks kind of manly. So anyway, I'm going to give this a quick drive. Is it on? Here we go. Woohoo! Yeah, with all that power, it's got absolutely no problem driving around on my desk. A bit of stopping because of the limited room to get the angle right for the controller, but that looks absolutely fantastic. 2256 on there as well. Yeah, that looks absolutely great. So, wow, Edward, here you go. Here is your train in Brick Nottingham, extended to fit with my system. I'm really glad that I was able to do that because I didn't want it as just a bit of sort of track furniture, so to speak, looking very interesting but out of use. I wanted this thing pulling loads of wagons like this and so on. And yeah, it's brilliantly different from everything else and, well, pretty rare, let's face it. So yeah, that is absolutely awesome. But I haven't finished my track in the city. Obviously, I still haven't finished the central station and the loop and the two inner loops by a long stretch, but I was hoping to have the two outer loops done so I could have this touring around my city. But I think we're going to have to save that till next time, where this is going to have the honour of doing the first full lap of the new system. Yeah, and I might get all of my cargo trains off the floor and using it as soon as it's finished. I've basically got a curve, a new bit that we'll be getting from Trix Bricks, and another crossing, and a bit more straight to join up with that T-junction and then go under One Tree, Major Oak Hill, whatever it's called, up to the castle. So there's quite a bit to do, with loads of ballasting and stuff. I'm starting to worry that I'm running out, but even if we have to do it a bit sort of haphazard slapdash, we will get a loop going next time, and we will have this bad boy going around it. Yeah, it doesn't look bad at all. It doesn't look like I've extended it. It just looks super, super mega powerful. I love it. But do tell me what you think. Boop boop. Well, that just looked... don't go off the edge of the desk. Fuck, doesn't like getting that signal to stop. Oh dear. Poop poop. Well, that is a real success if you ask me. It looks absolutely amazing. Love that colour scheme. Never thought I'd own it. And it is absolutely spectacular. Even extended. I don't know you can even tell. I'd even cautious to venture that it might even look better, slightly wider and slightly more stocky. But yeah, it's definitely not a problem. I think the only minor glitch that I've got is that because we've got this clear light shining kind of through the orange brick when it's oblique like this, it kind of looks a bit peachy. It's fine dead on. It looks like white light, but from the side you can see, yeah, it's definitely got a bit of a peach hue to it, hasn't it? But anyway, I'm sure I'll cope with that minor transgression because, well, there's just so much else to love. Those stickers, I was worried they would not move at all, let alone move well. And look at that. That looks perfectly aligned. That looks perfectly aligned. Oh, yes. And all of these ones that were a bit higgledy-piggledy on the front look absolutely perfect now. So, yeah, it has turned out nice again. Wonderful. Well, as always, thank you very much for watching. It is appreciated. Do remember to like, comment and subscribe for more awesome LEGO videos. Do also remember to tune in next time when we'll have this going around the full LEGO room. That'll be absolutely amazing, he says, hoping that he doesn't have any more problems getting the track finished. And if you value this channel, there are many ways in which you can support it. Do check out the links in the description below. So we'll be having a haul on the sister channel on Wednesday, and then we'll be back here on Monday for this in full action. With all that power, that was just one click it going by there. That's why it nearly fell off the desk a second ago. You know, it's going to be able to pull an absolute mountain of wagons. So that's something to really look forward to. And just can't stop looking at it. It's so pretty. But anyway, until that next time, see you! Who's a pretty boy? I am.